First I want to say my name is Leanne Quinn. Sorry. All of your stories resonate with me. There's a little piece of my own story in each and everything that everybody has said here today. So again, my name is Leanne Quinn. I am the mother of 4 children. My oldest son, Zachary, has Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He was diagnosed at 5 years old. I also have 3 other children, all girls, twins that are 14, Allison and Samantha, and a 4-year-old, Olivia, surprise baby. They are all the light of our lives, and actually I think Zachary's illness has made us all considerably closer as a family. How many 21-year-olds want to watch 4-year-old girl cartoons at 7 o'clock in the morning? Not many. But Zach will do it with patience. Up until last February, Zachary's muscular dystrophy was relatively well controlled, and we were receiving supports through CNA services only and doing very well. However, in February, Zachary ended up with an infection, and as the booby prize to that infection, it was discovered that he had H1N1 flu and ended up in respiratory failure. And very quickly, we went from literally coming home from the hospital. 1 minute, I got a call while at work, we're gonna send him home, to in respiratory failure that same day twice, and within 3 days, he was trached and vented at Rhode Island Hospital. Immediately, I suppose I should tell you I'm also a nurse. I'm a clinical manager for Bay Out of Home Health Care, and I have been doing this work with pediatrics and adults for the last 5 years of my career. So each and every one of these stories resonates both personally and professionally, because I see the struggles day in and day out, both in my own home, but with my clients and their families. Immediately, panic set in. We were going to be turning 21, or Zachary would turn 21 in August, which meant a significant reduction in services, transitioning from the pediatric population where he was until switching over to BH-DDH services and tier funding levels. My husband and I talked about these changes, and he started calling everybody in Medicaid. Our personal commercial insurer pays for none of Zachary's care at home. They consider his needs custodial in nature. Don't even get me started on that. And so therefore we are relying on his Medicaid waiver services to provide his CNAs and now his nursing. I am blessed to be afforded 16 hours a day of nursing services supplemented with CNA services, because Zachary is 5'10" and about 300 pounds. So, and he is completely paralyzed. His muscular dystrophy has made it so that he stopped walking at the age of 11. He has very limited use of his hands. Basically, he can do this. He can't walk. He has a severe anxiety disorder, a seizure disorder, now a trach and vent. We are lucky enough that he's been able to find a way with his trach and vent to speak still. We have settings that we change. There's nothing wrong with his mind, it's just his body doesn't work, which is another big concern for us, because a lot of the services through BH-DDH are based both on medical need, but behavioral and intellectual problems as well, none of which he has. So again, my husband started calling everybody, anybody. Is BH-DDH the only option? Can we receive services through a more medical model, like a neighborhood health plan? What could we do? What is our choices? He spent hours on the phone, often waiting for somebody to get on the phone with him, talking from one department to another department, referred from one place to another, receiving conflicting information with each person that he talked to. No person seemed to have the same answer for us. BH-DDH, no. NHP, no, you don't qualify for that. And on it went. Eventually, he was moved. The BHDDH process was determined to be where Zach's needs would be met. We went, the process to obtain services for him now consists of assist, medical necessity, a long application that you fill out. They didn't even require at that point all of his medical documentation, just based on the information we provided. They said, no, we definitely need services. We went through the CIS, and his tier funding level was returned to us. We knew there was going to be a significant reduction. Even we could not have anticipated the amount of reduction that came. I got the letter in the mail. Zachary will be a tier D, home and base community supports in the amount of $18,053 per quarter, and then some other fundings that could equal somewhere in the neighborhood of $21,000. I called the director at where Zach receives his services and said, what does that give me for hours? And was almost devastated to hear that went to 25 hours a week only for his nursing. I was getting 16 hours a day just of nursing, and an additional, he's offered an additional 40 hours of CNA supplementation currently, and we were gonna drop to 25 hours a week. That's not even 5 hours a day. That doesn't even call, my husband and I both work full time. That doesn't even we can't go, how are we gonna work? How am I gonna raise my 3 girls? How am I gonna take them to activities? You can't, everything for Zach requires a significant amount of planning. When we go anywhere with him, it's the trach and the vent and the go bag and the extra batteries. I mean, he comes with a suitcase. Zachary also is well aware of all of this happening. So we sat in our ISP meeting, and one of the things he said was, I don't want my sisters to resent me because I take up all of my parents' time. I just want what I had before I turned 21, and that is all we want for him. Zachary has done exactly what he was supposed to do. When he was diagnosed, his diagnosis put an age limit of approximately 18 years old. Thankfully, he has surpassed that, and with medical care being what it is now that the trach and vent are actually in place, he could go, he will see adulthood. He's already an adult, but he will see potentially into his 30s and 40s with appropriate medical care, and he lives a good life at home. That's all I want for him. Only thing he did was grow up just as he was supposed to do. And now we're facing 5 hours a day. We have been on the phone with everybody from OHHS, BHDDH. I can't even tell you the hundreds of pages of emails and conversations back and forth. Everybody apologizing, ensuring to us that they're going to work together to find a solution to this. What are we going to do? We're going to maintain his supports in place until we can figure it out. But I have to tell you, even within the system currently, I can't get the same information even from the same person to 2 different people. Most conversations require clarification through repeated emails. Sometimes we are waiting days to receive an answer. Or I get answers from people, I don't even know who they are or how they fit in the email chain. All of a sudden, somebody new's name pops up and says, this is what you're gonna do. Like I said, we've been assured by OHHS and BHDDH that they're committed to working together to resolve our concerns within state and federal guidelines. But it does not give me peace because it's still a giant unknown. The ask for us to appeal his funding level is an additional $193,000 per year just to maintain his current level of service. And Zach's condition is such that he'll get worse. He truly is 24-hour-a-day care. He's just lucky enough that my husband was able to be trained, and mom's a nurse who does this for a living. So I take care of him at night, or whenever there's a call out, I call out of work. And I'm blessed to work for a company that also does this work, so they do have some understanding when somebody can't come to work to be with us. So our big concerns remain disparity in funding and services despite no change or improvement in condition. The complexity of the process, which in my experience with BHDDH, OHHS, EOHHS, staff both at higher and lower levels have a difficult time themselves answering questions about and navigating through the system. The lack of responsiveness to questions or even the disparity in the answers sometimes that are received, often requiring multiple requests for clarification of information provided. Responses received to questions from people you don't know who they are or how they fit into the process. How can any one parent keep up? I believe she mentioned the language. I speak medical language. I can't even keep up with speaking the language that is presented to me oftentimes through this process. I saw in the beginning they talked about case management being really important. God, if I could make one phone call to one person as a case manager, and that one person could say, Mrs. Quinn, this is what we're gonna do, this is how you're gonna get there, and we're gonna make this work. And whether we have to go through 2 processes, 3 processes, I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. That's not what happens. It doesn't really happen very well in the pediatric world, and certainly it doesn't happen in the adult world. Any parent, I have heard multiple times from my parents that I've worked with, they are absolutely terrified for their child to grow up because we've put all our eggs in the pediatric basket. And we have all seen that that pediatric basket is severely lacking. And when we move into that adult world, it's even scarier. All we want for our kids is for them to do exactly what they're supposed to do, grow up. It shouldn't have to be this difficult. It shouldn't have to be this hard. And as a state and as a bunch of workers and parents, we need to find a way to make this system much easier to navigate with better answers and a more comprehensive response to parents' needs so they are not out there floundering as I think we've all experienced prior to now.
All right, so we have 2 more moms that we're going to hear from.